So if you've ever sat in your office at 9:47 p.m. the night before an audit, surrounded by binders, trying to remember which version of the USDA policy you actually use, then this episode is for you. If you ever found yourself sitting at a desk, a kitchen table, rebuilding production records from scratch because the staff didn't complete them, then this episode is for you. And if you keep saying to yourself, I am too tired to keep doing this way, then this episode is for you. I'm Alana Jones, registered dietitian, school nutrition specialist, and child nutrition professional. But before that, I was a K-12 nutrition program director, and I own and operated a child care. So when I talk about the weight of the CNP program, I'm not just reading it from a textbook. This is real lived experience. So welcome to the CNOS Briefings. Today we're naming something that I see in almost every child nutrition program I work with. It's called the compliance trap. And once you can see it, you can finally start getting out of it. So here's what most directors think is happening when their program struggles. They think we don't have enough staff, the regulations keep changing, my team isn't trained well enough, we just need more time. And those things are very real, but that's not the actual problem. The actual problem is that most child nutrition programs are running on willpower instead of systems. You see, this work is too important to fail. Children depend on these meals every day, but the structure underneath the work is too weak often to support it. So you end up with programs that are propped up by one or two people's effort, our own memory, and our own personal sacrifice. And that's the compliance trap. You see, again, this work is too important to fail, but the structure underneath it is often too weak to support it. And here's why it's a trap. The harder you work, the more it feels like the system is fine, because you are the system. You are holding it all together, and it works until it doesn't. So today, I want to go over the 5 signs that you're in the compliance trap. So let's discuss these 5 signs that tell me a program is stuck in the compliance trap. As I go through these, I want you to truly be honest with yourself. I am not asking you to fix anything today. I am not going to the State Department to tell them what you're doing. I'm just asking you to see what is truly happening in your program. Sign 1, documentation lives in your head. This is when the documentation does not just live on paper. You know where the procurement file is. You know how much milk to buy. You know when the training is due. But if you asked your assistant manager, if you asked your head staff, if you asked your front line, they wouldn't know where it was, and they wouldn't know how to get to it within 30 minutes if an auditor walked in. That's not a system. That's a person who does system work. Sign 2, you scramble before every review. 2 weeks before the reviewer comes in, you and your team go into emergency mode. That means late nights, working weekends, printing, organizing, double checking. You always pass, but at what cost? You see, a real system doesn't require an emergency to be ready. It's like my mama always said, you need to stay ready. And a real system is always ready. You need to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And see, a real system is built into daily operations and systems that are ready for an audit. Sign 3. Practices vary between every staff member. So the task is done depending on who's doing it. One person does production records one way, another person does production records another way. The staff who trained them did this, you do this, and getting it done and getting to a place of success really depends on who's the person in charge. And see, when you're running multiple programs that way, or directing multiple people that way, you're not going to end up with the same result. Sign 4, you can never take time off. See, you can't take more than 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days off without something falling apart. So what would happen if you got sick tomorrow? Could your team execute? Could they pass a review? Could they handle a corrective action? If the answer makes you nervous, that tells you something important. you don't have a program. You have yourself plus some helpers. And sign 5. You pass reviews, but it costs you your sleep. And see, this is the one that hits the hardest. Because we like to say things like, keep your personal life separate from your business life. That doesn't always work, y'all. And so during that audit, you meet the deadlines, you pass the audit, but you are exhausted, you are anxious, you are sleeping poorly before the reviewers get there, or you're sleeping poorly all month because you know that they could pop up at any time. You see, this sometimes shows up as a director who's been carrying too much for too long, and the program looks fine because she or he is not fine. I want to be clear. If any of those 5 signs landed for you, I want you to understand this is not your fault. And I'm going to say that again because I want you to really hear it. This is not your fault. Here's why most CNP programs end up in the compliance trap. You see, federal nutrition programs were designed to feed children, and that's wonderful. But they were not designed with operational systems in mind. The regulations tell you what to do, but they don't always tell you how to build the structure and the foundation that makes what you do sustainable. So directors get hired, they're given the regulations, they're given a budget, they're given a staff, and they're expected to figure it out the operational system themselves. Usually with little training, no template, no peer to ask, and no time. So what happens? Smart, hardworking directors hold the program together with sheer effort. And this works until staff turnover, or a regulation changes, or a reviewer asks a question that nobody anticipated, or the director just simply burns out. You see, the trap is not a personal failure. It's a structural gap in how this whole field is set up. And once you see that, you can stop blaming yourself and start building what is truly missing. So, here's where I want to introduce a different way of thinking. The strongest CNP programs I've worked with, the ones that pass reviews calmly, that handle staff turnover without panic, that grow without burning out the director, they all have something in common. They stopped treating compliance as a checklist and started treating it as an operating system. So, what's an operating system? Well, an operating system is the structure underneath the program that turns federal compliance into day-to-day operations. It's the workflows, the documentation hubs, the standardized practices, the training systems, and the accountability loops that make compliance happen automatically, instead of requiring willpower every time. When an operating system is in place, 4 things shift. Reactive becomes structured. You stop responding to problems and start anticipating them. Scattered becomes organized, meaning the documentation lives in one place your whole team can access, not just simply in your head, your inbox, and your 3 different binders. You go from overwhelmed to being supported because the system carries the weight you used to carry alone. And risky becomes audit ready. Reviews stop being treated as emergencies. This is what is called the CNOS operating system. 6 pillars that turn federal compliance into daily operation: documentation, menus and meal patterns, procurement, financial oversight, and audit readiness. Over the next 7 episodes of this series, I'm going to walk you through each of these 6 pillars, what they are, what they look like, and what they look like when they're working, what breaks them, and how to begin building each one, even if you're starting from 0 today. So let me give you a picture of what changes when you get out of the compliance trap. Your reviewer calls on a Monday morning, says they'll be there Wednesday, and your stomach drops. You cancel everything for 2 days. You call your team in for an emergency meeting. You print, you organize, you stay up until midnight. Stay up to midnight the night before rebuilding production records from scratch. Wednesday morning, you're running on coffee and a prayer. Here's the new version. Your reviewer calls Monday, says they'll be there Wednesday, and you pull up the documentation hub. You run the pre-review checklist, confirm the team has the binders ready, Send a heads up email. And by Wednesday, you're calm, your team is calm, the reviewer finds what they came to find, exactly where it should be. Same review, same regulations, same team. The difference is the system that's underneath. It's not a fantasy. That's what programs running CNOS actually experience. I've seen it happen in school districts. I've seen it happen in child cares that operate CACFP. I've seen it happen in low programs that are serving low-income families. The outcome is the same. A program that runs on systems and not off your back. Before we wrap, I want to give you one thing you can do this week. Just one. I want you to write down on paper, not on your phone, the answer to this question. What part of my program will fall apart if I were out for 2 weeks unexpectedly? Don't fix it. Don't try to solve it. Just name it. You see, that answer is a place where your operating system needs to start. If you want to take that diagnosis deeper, I built a free 5-minute audit readiness assessment that scores your program across all 6 pillars and shows you exactly where the gaps are. No fluff, instant results, a clear next step. Whether you take it or not, please write down that answer, because awareness is the first move out of the trap. You see, next week, we're going into Pillar 1, compliance and documentation systems. We're going to build the foundation that holds everything else. Listen, I made this series because I have watched too many directors burn out during doing this purpose-based work. Too many programs propped up on the back of one person's effort. I've lived it. Whether or not a single director can keep all the plates spinning at one time. You deserve better. Your team deserves better. The children you serve deserve better. And it is absolutely possible to build it. If today's episode names something different that you've been carrying, I want you to know that you're not alone and you're not stuck. You're just one system away from a different way of working. Honor the purpose behind the plate. Strengthen the process and lead with confidence. And I'll see you next week.
We are CNP, strong and steady, called to serve, always ready, empowering professionals.